6 p.m. here in Cairo, time for the news bulletin. We start our bulletin with the headlines. President Sisi gives directives of swift inclusion of government's second phase of the comprehensive healthcare system. Prime Minister Madbouli inspects several historic Cairo revitalization projects. And 21 Palestinians were killed this morning in a continuous Israeli aggression. Welcome back to the news in detail. President Abdel-Fattah al-Sisi gave directives of swift inclusion of governments in the second phase of the comprehensive healthcare system according to the set timelines. This came during a meeting over the indicators of healthcare system and executive situation of the second phase of the project that includes government Kafr el-Sheikh, Matruh, North Sinai, Damietta and Minya. President directed to study, including Alexandria, the upcoming period, stressing the importance of activating role of private sector and national sectors in backing the system nationwide. The president also followed up on the developments of the healthcare infrastructure projects. In the same context, the president also called for speeding up the draft law on organizing private medical installations and organizing their work in the framework of the state's support to medical sector investment, completing the comprehensive healthcare system. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli on Saturday have began an extensive inspection tour to follow up on the progress of a number of projects aimed at reviving historic areas in Cairo. The Prime Minister was accompanied by Minister of Local Development Manal Awad, Minister of Housing Sharif al-Shirbini, and Governor of Cairo Ibrahim Sabir Khalil, as well as senior state officials. The Prime Minister affirmed that the tour reflects a strong commitment to continuing regular on-site follow-up of various projects carried out by the state to revive historic Cairo areas. He added that this system from the strategy aimed at preserving archaeological and architectural character of the city in line with the directives of President Abdel-Fattah al-Sisi, ensuring urban development in surrounding residential neighborhoods and completion of development efforts nationwide. Minister of Foreign Affairs, Migration and Expatriate Affairs Badr Abdelati held Saturday a joint press conference with UN Secretary General and Commissioner General of the UN Nations Relief and Works Agency Palestinian refugee Philippe Lazzarini. Earlier in the day, Abdelati received Lazzarini, condemned the illegal Israeli legislation aimed at terminating the agency's work in the occupied Palestinian territories. The details in the following report.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Badr Abdelati, reaffirmed the vital role of the UNRWA in highlighting the Palestinian cause and the Israeli attempt to liquidate it. During a joint press conference with the UNRWA Commissioner General, Philippe Lazzarini, Abdelati stressed that any attempts targeting UNRWA under any pretext or false justification are unacceptable. Abdelati said Israeli intransigence is the reason no ceasefire agreement has been reached in the Gaza Strip. The Foreign Minister added that the famine in Gaza is also man-made by the Israeli occupation. He pointed out famine in Gaza is worsening daily and must be stopped, along with the removal of all restrictions on the flow of aid, stressing that Egypt continues its efforts to facilitate the entry of humanitarian assistance into Gaza. He confirmed that Egypt has kept the Rafah crossing open whilst Israel kept it closed from the Palestinian side, explaining that Israel is obstructing the entry of humanitarian aid trucks into Gaza and using starvation as a weapon of war. Abdelati also stressed Egypt's rejection of attempts to forcibly displace Palestinians from their land. For his part, Lazzarini said people in Gaza are searching for food and silently dying of hunger. The UN official meanwhile stressed humanitarian organizations must be allowed to distribute aid in Gaza, and any restrictions imposed on them should be lifted. He also pointed out that UNRWA's financial situation is dire, and Arab states should provide the necessary financial support to the agency.
Minister of Foreign Affairs, Migration and Expatriate Affairs, Badr Abdulati held a phone call with U.S. Special Envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, as part of ongoing consultations regarding latest developments in the Gaza Strip. According to the Foreign Ministry statement, the call focused on joint efforts to achieve a ceasefire in Gaza based on proposals put forward by the U.S. envoy. Minister Abdulati emphasized the necessity for Israel to fully comply with the proposed framework in order to de-escalate tensions, halt bloodshed among the Palestinian population, ensure the delivery of humanitarian and relief aid, and facilitate the release of hostages and detainees. Additionally, the foreign minister briefed the U.S. envoy on Egypt's preparations to host an international conference on early recovery and reconstruction to be convened immediately following a ceasefire. The top officials also tackled developments of the Iranian file, where Abdulati continued and outlined Egypt's efforts and diplomatic contacts aimed at resuming negotiations. As part of Egypt's relief efforts for Palestinians in Gaza Strip facing the Israeli starvation negotiations with the Palestinian group Hamas, and urged them to release all hostages held in Gaza. U.S. ally Israel's ensuring assault on Gaza have killed tens of thousands of people, internally displaced Gaza's entire population, and prompted accusations of genocide and war crime at international courts and from several rights groups. Trump had promised a quick end to war in Gaza during his presidential campaign, but a resolution have been elusive. About 50 Israeli hostages are still being held by Hamas throughout. Hamas have said it would release some hostages from temporary ceasefire, while Trump has repeatedly said he wants to release all hostages. The Arab Parliament have strongly condemned the statements of the Israel. Well, with this, my dear viewers, we come to the end of the news bulletin. My name is Amal Mukhtar. Thank you for watching.